everyone. Welcome back to Granny's Place. I'm so glad you could come today. Uh, Outside, it's one of the coldest days here in Chicago, but it's also one of the brightest days. The sun is shining on the snow, and it is just beautiful. I thought I would read to you a winter story today. Since we've had quite a bit of snow lately, maybe you have it where you are too, but this is a special story that I used to read to my kids, and I still enjoy reading it, mostly in the wintertime. This book is called The Snow Angel by Debbie Boone. Illustrations by Gabriel Farrer. For some reason, this book was printed upside down, so I always have to turn it around. Okay. All right. Rose was a little girl whose eyes were full of dreams. Most people see things just as they are. Rose saw everything blanketed in dreams of what it could be. The world was much more beautiful because of it. Rose and her mother lived in a village where people had little by little forgotten how to dream. It's not that they meant to, it's just that simple problems seemed to get so big that they couldn't see beyond the problems. Nothing much seemed to matter anymore, and folks were just trying to make it from one day to the next. As for Rose and her family, Rose's father had died when she was a baby, but grandfather had come to live with them, and they loved each other very much. Rose enjoyed nothing more than listening to grandfather talk about the different things that could be. He had given her the gift of dreaming. One crisp autumn afternoon, that's in the fall, grandfather decided to take Rose and some of her friends for a walk in the woods. Soon they came to a small clearing. Grandfather knelt down on one knee, and with all the children watching intently, he pulled a tiny seed out of his coat pocket. This is a giant fir tree, he announced. That sure doesn't look like a giant fir tree, one of the children said. Oh, but it is, grandfather said. You just can't see it yet. Then, as he began to plant the tiny seed, he said, dreams are the seeds of change. Nothing grows without a seed. And nothing ever changes without a dream. Can you see the little seed in his hand? He brushed off his hands, sat down on a log, and said, now, this seems like a fine day to plant some dreams. You tell me some of your dreams, and then I'll tell you some of my own. By the time we're finished, we'll have planted a whole forest of dreams. Then he tilted his head back and he laughed a good long laugh. Oh my, there they are. They're going to talk about their dreams. Some parents didn't like the idea of the old man filling their children's minds with false hopes. Things aren't going to get any better around here, they would say. One by one, the parents of the village told their children they could no longer spend time with Rose or with her grandfather. One night, after Rose had gone to bed, grandfather and Rose's mother talked together. A little girl needs to have friends, Mother said quietly. Perhaps you shouldn't spend so much time with Rose and the other children. Grandfather paused for a moment, and then he softly replied, All right, for Rose's sake. He tapped out his pipe, and then he went upstairs to his room. That very night, silently and quietly, the snow came. Large white flakes fell to the ground below and continued to fall throughout the night. When Rose woke up, she looked outside her bedroom window and she saw the whole town covered by a blanket of fresh white snow. She jumped out of bed, pulled on a pair of pants, a sweater, and her snow boots, and she ran downstairs. School is closed today, her mother said. Too much snow. Rose grabbed a piece of toast off a plate. She spun around and ran back upstairs to her grandfather's room. Grandfather, it's snowing. Let's go outside for a walk. No thanks, her grandfather said sadly. You go ahead. I'm going to stay inside and read. So Rose walked slowly back down the stairs. I'm going to visit the fir tree, Mama, Rose said. Well, be back for lunch, dear, answered her mother. Rose headed out the back door and into the snow. When she got to the little tree, only the very top of it was peeking out of the snow. She knelt down and brushed the snow off of its tender branches. Keep growing, little fir tree. Quietly then, she leaned over to it and whispered, You're going to make it through this winter. I know it's kind of lonely when you're all by yourself, but you'll be just fine. You're our special tree. Suddenly, an idea came to her. She lay on her back in the snow and waved her arms and her legs back and forth. Then she stood up, brushing the snow off her jacket. There, she said. Her body had left a perfect imprint of an angel in the snow. There it is. Here's a snow angel to watch over you when I'm not around. No one should be alone, Rose said, suddenly feeling very sad. A tear rolled down her cheek, dropping silently onto the figure of the snow angel below. And Rose wiped her eyes. You're not alone, a voice said. Rose looked up. To her amazement, there stood an angel. She wasn't any taller than Rose herself, with blonde hair and a halo that was tilted just a little bit. Everything about her had a soft glow, unlike anything Rose had ever seen. Who are you? I mean, where did you come from? Rose asked. The angel smiled and pointed down. Rose looked and saw that her imprint in the snow had vanished. It had disappeared. Why, you're my snow angel. Rose, I've come to ask for your help. My help? Asked Rose. Why me? Because, the angel said, you're a dreamer. You know, Rose said, that's what my grandfather calls me. I bet he'd sure like to meet you. Well, then, the angel said, what are we waiting for? Let's go. She doesn't even leave any footprints, Rose thought, as she hurried to keep up with the angel. When they reached the house, they looked up at Grandfather's window. Rose made a snowball, and she threw it toward the windowsill, and she waited. In a few moments, the window opened, and Grandfather's head peered out. "Grandfather, I have a surprise. Come outside." "Well," Grandfather hesitated, "I'm not supposed to." Just then, the angel walked into view. Oh my, Grandfather said. "Now that's different. I'll be right down." When Grandfather had come outside, the snow angel said, "The people of your town have forgotten how to dream. They have lost their childlike heart." "I know," Rose said. "They need to start having fun again." "Yes," Grandfather agreed. "Rose, let's see if we can make them laugh." They tried this, and they tried that. And they tried that, and they tried that. But nothing seemed to work. Grandfather and Rose sat down feeling tired and a little discouraged and sad. "What shall we do now, Snow Angel?" Grandfather asked. "How can we get people to start dreaming again?" The angel smiled. "Sometimes people just need something wonderful to happen to them." Reaching out her arms, she said, "Come on, you two. Hold my hands." And up they flew, higher and higher through the clouds. "Magnificent!" cried Grandfather. "Oh," said Rose, "if only everyone could see this." The angel laughed. "That's why we're here. Come, help me pull these clouds back." All three of them grabbed a piece of cloud and pulled, much like you would pull back the top of a bed sheet. "Now shake," said the angel. As the three of them started to shake the cloud, snow began to fall. Light from the setting sun reflected off the snowflakes like 1,000 prisms, each one changing colors as it fell. The snowflakes turned from crimson red to a golden amber to an emerald green to a royal blue, which deepened to a rich purple, changing into a brilliant white. Down below, the children started to come out of the houses. Soon they filled the town square, reaching up to catch the colorful snow. "It looks like confetti," said one child. "Yes, or stained glass," shouted another, jumping up to catch a snowflake. "Oh," said Rose, "can I go down there and play too?" The angel took Rose and Grandfather by the hands and flew them softly down. Soon Rose was enjoying the wonderful sight with all her friends. "Look," said Grandfather, "here come the adults." Sure enough, the townspeople, hearing the sound of children's laughter, began to walk outside to see what in the world was going on. One by one, they looked up at the falling snow, first in disbelief, in wonder, and finally in giddy joy. In a few moments, the square was filled with both children and grown-ups playing together in the snow. Grandfather turned and he hugged the angel. Thank you for everything. The snow angel laughed. It was fun for me too. And please tell Rose, I couldn't have done it without her. The angel looked around as the snow fell, and the people laughed and cried and danced and sang. Then, almost to herself, she said, sometimes people just need something wonderful to happen to them. And there they are. Something wonderful did happen. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story of the snow angel. I hope happy things happen to you today and for the rest of this week. And I'll see you next time when it's time for another story.